Coming up in this sale review of the Anglia Auctions Classic Car Sale, we've got a Camaro Z28, a BMW 635 CSI with over 500,000 miles on the clock, a Panther Kallista, a P38 Range Rover, and a Citroen C6. Camaro, that looks nice. It's an unusual colour. £8,424. Seems reasonable. We've got to have a look, haven't we? What an unusual colour, but quite nice nonetheless. Chrome alloy wheels. They were never cheap to do. Quite a smart little machine, isn't it? Colour may not be for everybody, but I quite like it. All the discs look nice on it. Looks to have like a target roof. Oh, seats look nice. What's the mileage? Can we see? 82,000. Automatic, of course. Very nice. Quite an impressive machine. I think that's worth its money. 8,400 quid. Yeah. I don't even think you could import one from America, and it'd be cheaper than that. 5.7 litre LS1 V8 engine, 4-speed automatic, lovely, sports and normal modes. In its original and rare colour of bright purple metallic, yeah, very nice. Glass roof panels, lift out, yeah, and can be stored in the boot, yeah, very nice. It's 82,000 kilometres, so it's, of course, so kilometres, yeah. Approximately 51,000 miles. So I wonder if it's been to Japan with it having kilometres on the clock, because the Americans, they have miles, I'm sure they do. It runs and drives with working brakes. Well, that's always a good thing, isn't it? I think that's quite a neat little machine, actually. Very nice. BMW 635 CSI. Wow, 529,413 miles. That's incredible. Blimey. £6,156. Well, that's a good price. Lovely cars. I always like the styling of these as well. The shark nose 635. Obviously, the replacement, I think they were for the 3-litre CSI, weren't they? Which again, beautiful cars, and obviously went on to become very expensive cars, as some of these are, 529,000 miles, that's absolutely amazing. A true testament to build quality, isn't it? Let's have a look. And it looks nice in the grey. I saw one at the Ingleby Arncliffe show, which I highlighted, but it was the CSI model. And lovely thing. Now, I'm not sure, but I think those wheels are off a later BMW. They may not be. I might be wrong. They may belong to this car, but I think they look as though they come off a different BMW. I don't recall them being like that on that car at that age. See the wipers there on the headlights. Lovely cars. Lovely design. Take some beating. I don't know why it is. These modern EVs, they seem to go out the way to make them look as ugly looking as possible. That might not be the right thing to say in these politically correct days, but it's the truth. They're ugly. Looks all right. Looks fairly sound. Doesn't look to be a lot wrong with that. £529,000. Absolutely amazing. You know, considering that mileage, those seats have stood up very well to it, haven't they? They look like like a dark navy blue to me. Have been originally. They might have been black, but they look about like a navy blue. There doesn't look a great deal wrong. You know, even the bolster doesn't look too bad. And I reckon if you got a bit of recolonising done on them, it wouldn't take much to turn them back to looking quite super. And to look at this car, you wouldn't think it had covered the mileage it had, would you? Well, I don't think it does. I think it's lasted very well. Just needs a good bit of a cleaning, a bit of detailing. Yeah, they look more like the proper wheels, don't they? See what it has to say. Most of the mileage has been on motorways. Thanks to they must have been up and down all day, every day, all night. Long distance commuting. Yeah. Only 2 registered owners recorded at DVLA. Restoration work undertaken between January 22 and 23. Stored and used for 10 years. Comes with an extra set of original wheels. Service books with stamps up to 324,000 in May 1998. I think that's absolutely amazing. To say it's done that many miles, and it doesn't look bad for it. Oh, Panther Kallista, £7,452. I think that's good value for money. That seems very cheap. And what a lot of car you're getting for the money. I mean, as we've said before, I've seen people at car shows, and I've seen them on YouTube walk past them and said about them being a kit car, and it horrifies me because they're not a kit car. They never were a kit car. Panther cars were expensive, hand-built luxury cars for the rich and famous. Obviously, as we've said, it was Robert Jankel who founded the company, and he owned the company up until 1980 when they went into administration. Then they were bought by the Koreans. I think it was Kim Jong, I think. And of course, the Kallista was the model that replaced the Panther Lima. The Panther Lima was in production whilst it was in Robert Jankel's ownership. And the difference between the Lima, it was the only Panther that they'd built that was made of fiberglass. They had a fiberglass body and they tended to run on Vauxhall 2.3 mechanics. And the rest were all hand-built aluminium. Well, the Kallista was brought out as the replacement for the Lima. Very similar styling. But this one, they're all hand-built out of aluminium. Pure craftsmanship and quality. You've got painted coach lines, hand-painted coach lines. It's just, I remember this has got the 2.8 engine, so it'd be the 2.8 V6 Cologne engine. And I think they also had a 2.9 as well. But what a beautiful thing in the red. Let's have a look at the pictures anyway. But I remember when they brought them out, and again at the motor show, I remember collecting a brochure for one, and it comes in its own special Panther Cars carrier bag, along with the brochure and the options manual, and you could select what you wanted from it. And I've got that somewhere. But the lovely cars, that I really like them. And I'm not sure, but I think they are MG midget doors. And I know on the Panther DeVille before, I've said before that they had Austin 1800, but I think they used MG midget doors on these. But I may be mistaken. I think that looks a lovely car, and I think how cheap. I mean, They usually start. They're not particularly expensive nowadays. You can pick them up from around about £10,000. So I think somebody's got a real bargain here, and this is including the premium. And it looks a lovely car. Let's have a look at the interior. Now look at that, doesn't that? I think that looks nice. The way it's got Panther embossed into the leather door cards, and the walnut door hairpins. A nice interior, that. But once again, these were all individual. They're all built to how you wanted them to be. You optioned them as to what you wanted. So you're probably not likely to find two the same. And they made some lovely colour schemes in them as well. They were particularly good at doing two-tone paints. 38,000 miles, that's nothing. Absolutely nothing. That is fantastic. What a bargain. Somebody obviously acknowledges what a great car they are. Plenty of room around that to be able to work on it, isn't there? And of course, the beauty of them being Ford mechanicals, you won't have any problem getting parts and or getting somebody to work on them. Nothing complicated. Let's have a look at the write-up. Yeah, the rarer 2.8 injection, stainless steel bumpers and grille, hand-painted coach line, and they virtually don't even exist anymore. Burr elm dashboard. I thought it was walnut. Looks too dark for elm, but there you go. 5 registered keepers. Doesn't show. Last owner for 10 years. Well, yeah, I like them. I like them very much, and I think somebody has got a real bargain. The Vitesse looks nice. 66 Vitesse. Mercedes Coupe there. Yeah. Those Fiat Coupes seem to be quite popular with people now. A little 1300. £2,010. That's not bad. Little Wolsey 1500. They seem to be popular. And of course, you got the Riley variant, the 1.5. The SLK Roadster there. £860. That's giveaway stuff. A Range Rover Bordeaux, so that's a run-out model, a limited edition model. 4 litre as opposed to the 4.6, but £3,456. A lot of car for the money. The P38 was never in favour with a lot of people when they brought them out because the classic Range Rover. Love the classic Range Rover. I don't mind the P38s, and I think some of them look better than others. And I think in this specification and in this colour, they look better. As I say, it's a run-out model, so you've got colour-coded bumpers. It's Bordeaux red paint. You've got stone leather. It'll have red piping. I think the biggest issue when they brought them out was they had a lot of electrical issues and things like that. Their suspension, so it was all newfangled. And as you'll see, as part of this, they've even colour-coded the inserts on the wheels, which was standard. This is how these models were made. And of course, they were the last Range Rover to have their own separate chassis. And I believe the chassis were galvanised as well. Didn't stop them rusting, I'm sure, but it must have gone somewhere to help it. Looks quite nice, looks in quite decent order, doesn't it? Let's have a look at the interior. Always nice to see. Yeah, that looks nice. The leather seats look nice. 74,000 miles, that's good. Nice red boot carpet. But this was the run-out model, as I say. Only 100 petrol models produced. One owner from new. Well, yeah, that explains a lot actually. That's cheap. Another cheap motor car. A lot of car for the money, in my opinion. Ubiquitous Morris 1000 in Trafalgar Blue. VW Caddy. That must be a rare sight as well. And one thing I'll give the French credit for, they're certainly quite individualistic when it comes to the styling of the cars, both Peugeot and Citroen. This one, the Citroen C6, may not be to everybody's liking. They're a bit different, but I quite like them actually. So it's a diesel, with it being the HDI, 3,348, which seemed like a good price to me. And they were quite luxurious, because obviously these were the top of the range models, weren't they? I don't think there was that many ever really sold in the UK. So you don't see that many of them. They're different, but I quite like them. They're quite a funky little thing, actually, where they have the back lights. Automatic. Those seats look nice. 79,000 miles. Well, that's nothing, is it? That is, and I like the way they have these like little wood inserts in the like pockets. Just all adds a little bit of style. Good boot. I can only imagine that'll provide good service for many years to come. Top of the range diesel, 2.7, 79,000 miles. Electric front and rear seats. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Cruise control, head-up display. Working air conditioning. Nav drive trip computer. Yep, I think that's a good buy, that one. Another cheap buy. Right, I'm going to leave it at that for today. I've got one more sale review to come tomorrow, and that'll be it for the latest Anglia Auctions Classic Car Sale.